Thank you for listening. My name is Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21. I'm a mixed martial arts journalist. I currently contribute to bjpen.com, Low Kick MMA, CageSidePress.com. You could find my work there as well as my YouTube channel at aka Strauss21. And of course, the Did You See That Shit Mixed Martial Arts podcast that you are listening to right now. Here is my latest interview. I hope you enjoy it. I want to welcome Garry Tonon to the show for the first time, man. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, guys? How are you? It wasn't renamed RyanHall.com after the last fight.
That's a pretty good one, man. Thanks for doing this. You're probably one of the best BJJ practitioners in the game right now, man. I mean, you're just absolutely killing it. You're 27 years old. You're 3-0 in MMA. You're fighting out Renzo Gracie and the Danaher Death Squad. How's it going, man? How's your new year?
I mean, it was good until you reminded me that I'm 27, man.
Yeah.
Well, here I was thinking I was 23, and then now
it's about.
No, everything was good, dude. I can't really complain. Just spent New Year's with some friends in the city. Been darting back and forth, just keeping my training up. Christmas was good. I went out to Pittsburgh. My mom's got a bunch of family over there. Got to see them. So all's been well, but I've been keeping a pretty strict training schedule. Even when I was out in Pittsburgh, I was still training a little bit, getting a little sparring in. So haven't really calmed down too much even since my last fight.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And you mentioned early on, you said that it's not called RyanHall.com anymore after that win. What did you think of what did you think of that knee bar, man? That was crazy, right?
Oh, it's cool, man. I always appreciate jiu-jitsu being used in mixed martial arts in any way because I just, that's my main sport. I did that for over a decade, and I still train jiu-jitsu twice a day. So, happy to always see it reinforced as like one of the main fighting styles in mixed martial arts. Yeah, man. I just think it's another testament to, people don't realize how different the sport of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is, or the martial art, or whatever you want to call it, from how it was 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, or 20. Like, man, things have just changed so much, so radically. Since the time, and BJ Penn is not like any, slouch when it comes to Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, he killed it back in his day. In regular Jiu-Jitsu matches, I'm not just talking about mixed martial arts, and he was able to apply it very well to mixed martial arts as well. But it just goes to show you, man, there's just things going on in Jiu-Jitsu nowadays that unless you're really keeping up with it, you're going to get lost in the old school way of things. And not to say that it's not good, it's just different, man. There's a lot of other stuff going on with the leg locks and everything that a lot of people just are not well versed on. And if you don't have that in your arsenal, it's tough, man, whether it's offensive or defensive. And I think that was just a perfect example of that, Ryan Hall's victory right there with BJ.
Yeah, definitely, man. I agree with a lot of the things, pretty much everything you said there. I mean, the sport of jiu-jitsu is really, it's just these last few years, it seems, it's really, really kind of caught like the popular trend, like everybody's on it. Of course, we have Morris. There's all these organizations popping up. Of course, we have Eddie Bravo. It's just where the sport of jiu-jitsu is now to where it was a decade ago. It's like night and day, man. But what do you think, though? What do you think the biggest difference is in the sport?
Well, there was a huge revolution when it came to leg locks. First of all, I would say in the last 5 years or so, due to the work of John Danaher in terms of passing along a lot of the information, and then myself, Gordon Ryan, Eddie Cummings, Dickie Ryan, all these different guys coming out of our school, really applying leg locks at a high level, and then stemming from that, a lot of other guys were trying to catch on to keep up, and other people have made innovations as well. And not to say that it's not like John was invented leg locks. There was a lot of other people doing them beforehand, but it was just kind of sprinkled throughout jiu-jitsu and MMA. It wasn't like you were seeing anybody from any camp, whether it was, I'm just going to name a few random teams, Atos or Gracie Baja or whatever. It's not like you saw any of these teams all together bringing a really well-refined leg locking game to the table, a systematic approach to submitting opponents with the lower body. There was, like I said, there was a few outliers. You had guys like Dean Lister, you had Imanari, a bunch of other great guys. I'm not saying that they didn't make plenty of innovations in leg lock game, But what I'll say is they didn't change the entire culture of the sport. You know, I think the work that we did and the work that John did changed everything. You know, everybody had to catch up and learn leg locks, or they were going to get, you know, broken, basically.
Yeah, no.
You know, that was.
People are still trying to catch up, man. People are still trying to catch up. You mentioned Gordon Ryan. Now, how good is that dude? And do you think that is MMA in his future?
Absolutely. You know, I don't really see Gordon fighting anytime within the next year. Not that he couldn't. I'm not saying he couldn't be successful. I just think he's like, you know, I had an entire jiu-jitsu career. You know, like I spent, like I said, over a decade, you know, training and competing in jiu-jitsu. And I mean, he certainly hasn't hit that mark yet. You know, I still think that there's some things that he wants to accomplish in jiu-jitsu and some matchups that he really wants to take. And, you know, and I think he wants to take, I kind of rushed myself into mixed martial arts in a way. I obviously waited till really late, you know, but what I mean by rush myself is like I had no experience. And then from like 3 months of training with John and doing sparring and stuff like that, or 3 to 4 months or whatever, I jumped right into my first fight. I think because Gordon has more time on his side, I don't think he wants to do that. I think he's going to be, I think when you see Gordon Ryan fight for the first time, you're going to see like a really well put together mixed martial artist. You know, before that first fight, I think that's where he wants to get to. You know, I can't speak for him perfectly, but that's just my guess based off of what I've heard him saying, what I've seen him doing, and the way I've seen him preparing. But yeah, man, the sky's the limit for that kid. You know, I've said it since he was younger and smaller. That he was going to be a force in the sport, and I tried to do everything I could to give him every opportunity to showcase his skills. And now he doesn't need any of my help, man. You know, he's doing it all on his own, and he's getting plenty of opportunities left and right from all different kinds of people, making all different kinds of money. And I couldn't be happier for him, you know. And I knew that was going to be the case as long as he stuck with it and worked as hard as he works.
Yeah, well, he's definitely surrounded himself with a first-class group of people. That's for sure, man. And of course, you're an integral part of that. You know, you're 3-0 in your MMA career. You most recently defeated Kit Dale at Metamoris 4. You've also defeated Shinya Aoki in the one championship grappling bout. Those are your grappling bouts. That's not your MMA. Those are your grappling exhibitions. I mean, what's next for you, man? I mean, you kind of hinted that Gordon wants to maybe, you know, get a more well-rounded game. But to be honest with you, Garry, you look like you're coming into your own as a complete mixed martial artist too.
Sure. Yeah, man. I mean, we're coming up on about a year of, you know, solid MMA sparring now. You know, of course, like here and there, I had been working on different skills. I do like a little bit of pad work here and there before I really started sparring and stuff. But, you know, in total, and in terms of actual mixed martial arts sparring, we're coming up on about a year now. I think we started around around December to prepare for. I think the first fight I had was in March or April or something of last year. So, yeah, we're coming up on, you know, on that year. And I think that I've made a lot of progress since then. I will say I was very happy. You know, of course there was mistakes made, but I was very happy with the difference in my technique from my first fight to my third fight. I think that there was a lot of improvements made. I think that I just looked like a much more complete mixed martial artist, like you said. And I really think a lot of things are coming together that I think I've felt coming together in sparring before, but it's just like jiu-jitsu in a way. Like when it comes to like live training in the gym and then what you're actually able to do in competition, there's always a little bit of a disconnect. You know, you could be a complete stud in the gym, and those skills that you're performing in the gym just don't quite 100% transfer over into competition. There's probably like, let's say, a 6-month delay or a 3-month delay, depends on where you are in your career, right? To where your that sparring session that you just had translates to the way that you're going to compete. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kind of feel the same way with mixed martial arts, where like the performance that I gave in my third fight, like in sparring, I feel like I could have done that, you know, maybe 6 months into my career, but I wasn't really ready to do it live until a year into my career. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, no, absolutely.
I think I'm starting to catch up to where I thought I was, if that makes any sense. But Yeah, man, I'm really happy about it, and we're working really hard to just try to develop every part of my mixed martial arts game. I want to be as complete as possible. I don't want to be coming in there, just having to pray that I'm going to be able to submit people. I want to be able to hit. I want to be able to take people down. I want to be able to stay on top and hit people. I want to be able to submit people too. I really want to be able to do it all, and that's the plan, man. I want to be one of the greatest mixed martial artists that ever stepped onto the canvas. So.
When are you looking at trying to get back into the cage?
So I'm never usually supposed to promote the fights until like everything's signed. But I will say I wanted to fight earlier, but there's a bigger event that I'm holding out for. I will be fighting early this year, but not as early as I would have liked. But it's for good reason. It's gonna be more exciting than I'm waiting. The opponent that I have as of right now, that of course, like I said, I can't release the name or anything, but I will say that like as far as striking is concerned, he's much better than any of the opponents that I've faced thus far. He has a much better record, very winning record in mixed martial arts, and he's been shown to viciously knock people out in competition. So it's going to be much more dangerous fight, I think, than any of my previous fights. So that'll be interesting, to say the least.
No doubt, man. I can't wait. A lot of big things happening with one championship, man, this last year. I think you're going to be a huge part of it this year. Before I get you out of here, man, one thing that I saw you were doing on Instagram, you put out a little video about the Brunswick BJJ, how government employees can train for free until the lockout ends there. And I just thought that was super classy. That's just a super cool thing that you guys are doing there, man. And I want to give you a few minutes to shout out coaches, sponsors, whatever you'd like. Floor is yours, Garry.
Yeah, sure, man. Just to get back to what you were just saying, I was just getting the guy in my front desk is just constantly telling me, we're getting emails from all these guys that like wanted to try jiu-jitsu, or we're currently enrolled, that like, hey, listen, I got to put my contract on hold, or like I want to try it, but I'm not getting paid or whatever. So, I just wanted to make sure that was all sorted out for those guys. It's enough of a stress to be having to go to work and not get paid and shit. They don't need anything more to think about it. And as far as I'm concerned, like when it comes to jiu-jitsu, I want that to be a place where everybody can kind of like, let everything else go and, just worry about training and have some fun. And, so that's just, for me, that's totally normal. I've been seeing Tom do stuff like that. Tom Glass, my original instructor, do things like that since, day one. And, it's like almost instinctual to me to do things like that because, I don't know. That's just the way that I think people should be treated. They're going through a tough time right now, and if I can find a way to help out, like obviously, like I don't have some important government job.
Yeah.
I just do jiu-jitsu, and if letting people train for free for a little bit is the best I can do for help out my country, then that's what I'll do. In terms of sponsors and stuff like that, man. First and foremost, Muscle Farm is our major sponsor. They're always helping us out with supplements and stuff like that. And I'm sponsored by Studio 540. It's a really beautiful gym out in San Diego, California. Robert Zeps is just an awesome contributor to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and mixed martial arts community. He's done a really great many things for us, and I really appreciate that. Chimera Coffee, my coffee sponsors. I just spent right before the holidays, I was out in the DR with those guys, and man, they're a crazy bunch, man, and they had a lot of fun. DR was really cool. And then Armbar Soap Company as well. And then my own apparel company, Cash Chicks Championships, which we're just trying to get off. We just started selling a bunch of rash guards and stuff. We're going to start trying to put out some more product soon. So I'm excited about that. It's been a little, side project of mine for a while now.
Very cool, man. Well, I do appreciate this, Garry. Best of luck to you this year, man. Big things coming. I know it. And thanks for the little piece of info there about your fight. I do appreciate that, man.
Awesome, man. Yeah, a lot of fun, dude. Anytime.
Take care, man.
Yeah, talk to you later, brother. Thank you. Bye-bye.